Imagine walking alone down a dimly lit corridor. Shadows flicker along the walls, and your footsteps echo in the silence. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a figure emerge, someone who seems hauntingly familiar. As you turn to get a better look, your breath catches. Every movement, every detail mirrors your own. Their face is your face. But there's something unsettling, something darker, like a version of you drawn from a nightmare. You realize with a creeping sense of dread, it's you. Throughout history, stories of doppelgangers, ghostly doubles of our own selves, have haunted human folklore. From ancient legends to modern tales, these eerie doubles appear without warning, often accompanied by omens of disaster or death. In German, doppelganger translates to double walker, an exact copy that seems to exist beyond our reality, walking an invisible path parallel to our own. While science offers potential explanations, hallucinations, tricks of the mind, there's a part of us that shudders at the idea that it's something more, something that lies just beyond our understanding. In many cultures, seeing your doppelganger is considered an ill omen. It's said that if you encounter your own double, death or calamity may soon follow. Some believe these apparitions are alternate versions of ourselves visiting from other dimensions. Others say they're malevolent spirits intent on taking our place or pulling us into the shadows with them. Whatever they may be, doppelgangers stir something ancient and instinctual within us, a feeling that perhaps we're not as alone as we think. Today, we'll explore the haunting stories of some of history's most iconic figures. Men and women whose lives shaped the world, yet who found themselves haunted by the most unsettling of visitors, their own doubles. From Abraham Lincoln to Catherine the Great, Shakespeare to Edgar Allan Poe, Napoleon Bonaparte to Percy Bysshe Shelley, each of these figures encountered a version of themselves that was never meant to exist. As we journey through these tales, remember, the next face you see might be one you know all too well. Doppelgangers are often viewed as omens or harbingers of misfortune, death, or even madness. The phenomenon of seeing one's double isn't new either. Stories of identical apparitions have existed since ancient times, and many cultures hold that seeing your double is an omen of impending death. Science might attempt to explain these sightings. Some researchers believe that doppelgangers are simply hallucinations, products of stress, exhaustion, or even neurological issues. Yet the stories we're about to hear defy easy explanations and are difficult to dismiss. These accounts have haunted history, touching some of the most renowned individuals of their time. Today, we start with a story that took place in America's White House and one of the most unforgettable men in history, Abraham Lincoln. Known for his tall, solemn presence and his role as a leader during one of the most turbulent times in American history, Lincoln wasn't the type to be easily frightened. Yet, shortly after his election, Lincoln was disturbed by a vision so chilling that he confided only in his closest friends and family. The year was 1860. Lincoln had just been elected as president and was staying in Springfield, Illinois, resting from the relentless demands of the election. One evening, he happened to glance in the mirror and was startled by what he saw. Beside his own reflection appeared another face, identical yet strangely different. His doppelganger was ghostly pale, almost corpse-like, and it mirrored him from the glass with a lifeless gaze. When he looked away, Lincoln assumed the figure would disappear, but when he glanced back, the ghostly double remained. He later described it to his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, saying he had seen two faces, his own, but with one side far more ghastly. Mary, deeply superstitious, believed it was a premonition. "Your two faces," she reportedly said, "suggest two terms in office, but the pale face, that one foretells death." Historians debate whether Lincoln's encounter was a result of exhaustion or some optical illusion. Yet just a few years later, he would be assassinated, marking the tragic end that Mary feared. Was this doppelganger citing a grim warning from the beyond? Across the Atlantic, and a few centuries earlier, another powerful leader encountered her own spectral twin. Catherine the Great, Empress of Russia, ruled with an iron hand, steering Russia through turbulent times and expanding its influence. Known for her intelligence and strength, Catherine was not easily unnerved, even in a palace filled with intrigue. Yet, in the final years of her reign, an eerie encounter shook her to the core. One evening, Catherine's servants hurried to inform her that they had seen her in the throne room, dressed in her royal attire, seated on the throne itself. Catherine was perplexed. She hadn't left her chambers that evening. Determined to understand what her servants had seen, she followed them back to the throne room. To her astonishment, she saw her own doppelganger seated on the throne, a silent figure embodying her royal presence, yet somehow otherworldly. Terrified but resolute, Catherine ordered her guards to fire upon the apparition. The soldiers obeyed, but as soon as they fired, the double vanished. Catherine was left shaken, interpreting the encounter as an omen of her own demise. And indeed, not long after, she suffered a stroke and passed away. In Russian folklore, seeing your doppelganger is believed to be an omen of death, a belief that Catherine may have taken to heart in her final days. Next, we turn to the legendary playwright William Shakespeare. Though he may not have directly seen his own double, stories of doppelgangers weave throughout his work. His plays are filled with twins, mirrors, and mistaken identities. Consider Twelfth Night and the Comedy of Errors, comedies with identical twins mistaken for each other, or Macbeth, where supernatural omens mark impending doom. In the final months before Shakespeare's death, local legends suggest that his family and friends reported seeing him wandering the streets of Stratford-upon-Avon, distant and melancholy. Strangely, these sightings occurred on days when Shakespeare himself claimed to be at home. Was this simply hearsay, or was there something darker at play? Whether fact or legend, Shakespeare's fascination with doubles and mistaken identities was nearly prophetic, echoing the Erie idea that he may have experienced his own encounter with a doppelganger. Did Shakespeare's own life foreshadow his death, just as he foreshadowed tragedy through characters who met their end after seeing their doubles? In the dark, twisted world of Edgar Allan Poe, doppelgangers were more than just a myth. Poe's 1839 short story William Wilson tells the chilling tale of a man haunted by his own double, a shadowy figure who seems to thwart him at every turn. But was William Wilson more than just fiction? Did Poe himself experience something similar? Throughout his life, Poe was haunted by a sense of doom and a fascination with the duality of human nature. He was known for his intense moods and mysterious demeanor, and friends occasionally reported seeing him in places he claimed never to have visited. As if a double haunted his footsteps, Poe lived his life as if chased by a shadow. Toward the end of his life, Poe became convinced that someone, an identical stranger, was following him. This eerie feeling of being watched and mirrored grew stronger until his sudden tragic death. Poe was found delirious on the streets of Baltimore, and his final days remain a mystery. Some speculate that his doppelganger was a dark omen, one he wrote into life in William Wilson, only to be consumed by it himself. Napoleon Bonaparte, the fierce and ambitious emperor of France, was said to be haunted by a spectral double. Known for his resilience and tactical brilliance, Napoleon's double was reportedly more than a simple hallucination. Some accounts claim that he encountered his doppelganger on multiple occasions, each time leaving him shaken. One of the most chilling encounters supposedly took place in the quiet of the night, when Napoleon woke to find his doppelganger standing beside his bed. The apparition did not simply mirror his appearance, it also spoke, giving Napoleon advice on future battles and decisions. This eerie double reportedly even predicted his downfall, specifically foretelling the disastrous Russian campaign. The final time Napoleon saw his doppelganger, he reportedly felt a sense of dread, as though it were a confirmation of his empire's decline. While some historians view this tale with skepticism, others note that Napoleon's decline happened just as the apparition had warned. Haunted by this shadow of himself, the indomitable emperor met his own ominous prophecy in the ruins of his once grand empire. Poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, known for his romantic verse and fascination with the supernatural, was deeply troubled by visions of his own double in the months leading up to his tragic death. Shelley confided in friends and in his wife Mary Shelley that he saw an identical figure, a man who looked just like him but carried a haunted, unsettling expression. One particularly eerie encounter took place while Shelley was walking along the shores of Italy. According to his account, he saw his doppelganger approaching him from the distance, moving closer with each step. Shelley's double did more than simply mirror him. It raised a hand, pointing ominously out toward the Mediterranean Sea. Disturbed, Shelley took this as a dark premonition. In the days that followed, Shelley wrote about this fatal presage in letters, describing it as if he were being beckoned by death itself. Tragically, he drowned soon after in a sailing accident off the Italian coast. Friends and family believed his doppelganger sighting had indeed been a sinister prophecy. In a final twist, Shelley's poetry often blurred reality and the supernatural, as though his life was bound to echo his verses. These historical encounters with doppelgangers have left a legacy of mystery, but is there a rational explanation for them? Psychologists suggest that doppelganger sightings might result from extreme stress, sleep deprivation, or even neurological conditions. Under such pressure, the mind may conjure a familiar face, its own, as a coping mechanism. The phenomenon could be akin to autoscopic hallucinations, where one perceives a double of oneself as a result of brain disturbance or intense psychological strain. Yet there are alternative explanations as well. Some cultures believe that doppelgangers are spirits or supernatural entities from another dimension, sent to serve as warnings or omens. Others propose that doppelgangers might be glimpses into a parallel universe, offering a fleeting encounter with an alternate version of oneself. In the modern era, sightings of doppelgangers continue to surface, albeit in different forms. In today's digital age, people occasionally encounter lookalikes on social media, in random photographs, or even through facial recognition technology. While some of these cases are dismissed as coincidence or illusions, others continue to stir the age-old question: are doppelgangers merely harmless lookalikes, or could they still carry dark significance? Are they psychological phenomena, the workings of alternate realities, or something yet unknown? The tales of doppelgangers have lingered through centuries, passed down like spectral warnings from one generation to the next. For those who saw their own ghostly doubles, Abraham Lincoln, Catherine the Great, William Shakespeare, Edgar Allan Poe, Napoleon Bonaparte, and Percy Bysshe Shelley, the appearance of a double was no mere coincidence. Each figure stood at the edge of greatness and tragedy, their lives cut short or marked by profound misfortune shortly after their spectral encounters. But what did these figures truly see? Was it an illusion born of stress and exhaustion, or could it have been something far more mysterious, a glimpse beyond the veil? Doppelgangers are more than just folklore. They're shadows that have threaded their way into our collective psyche, embodying our deepest fears and uncertainties. Across cultures, doubles have symbolized fractured identities, unfulfilled destinies, and unseen forces that pull us toward our fate. Some legends say that doppelgangers come to guide us, like spirit guides signaling change. Others see them as darker forces, bent on destruction, harbingers of doom who come to collect what time has borrowed. Science might try to explain these apparitions away, suggesting that they're the product of hallucinations. Under stress, the mind can play tricks, and perhaps seeing a double is simply one of the brain's mysterious defenses. Yet these stories still defy simple explanation. Can we truly dismiss them all as tricks of light and imagination when so many share similar chilling details? For many, the answers remain elusive, lost in the eerie spaces where science meets superstition. The chilling stories of these historical figures remind us that some mysteries are timeless, that shadows and reflections may carry secrets we may never fully comprehend. And so the legend of the doppelganger endures, a haunting question that tugs at the edges of reality. What if one day you turn a corner, look up in the mirror, or catch sight of a stranger in the crowd, only to realize that you're staring at your own face? And what if in that moment you feel a tremor, an unshakable sense that the face looking back at you is no ordinary reflection? Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's darker corridors, exploring the spaces where reality blurs into the uncanny. Until next time, remember, if you ever catch a glimpse of someone who looks exactly like you, heed the warning. There are stories that suggest you may not want to stick around to find out why. And if this tale of mirrored mysteries has made you question reality, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join the conversation in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and keep looking over your shoulder. You never know who or what might be watching.